ओम श्री गणेशाय नमः। ओम श्री सरस्वत्यै नमः। ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। योऽन्तः प्रविश्य मम वाचमिमां प्रसुप्तां सञ्जीवयत्यखिलशक्तिधरस्वधाम्ना अन्यांश हस्तचरणश्रवणत्वगादीन् प्राणान् नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यम्। सुखं नित्यं स्वप्रकाशं व्यापकं नामरूपयोः अधिष्ठानं बुद्ध्यबोध्यं बुद्धेर्दृग्यत्तु निर्मलम् अपारं सर्ववेदान्त वेद्यं प्रत्यक्परं महः तदेवाहं न मत्तोऽन्यत इति मे निश्चिता मतिः। We are answering all the questions which have been raised by Purva Paksha. The questions he raised were pertaining to the Vishaya or the purpose of this text. Why are you writing this text? I am writing this text for gaining moksha by knowledge. Why do you say so? Because bandha, ajnana is bandha and that is mithya. For which question was raised that bandha is not mithya but bandha is real and moksha can be gained by karma and not by knowledge. So why bandha is real and why how by karma you can gain moksha was said, told by Purva Paksha. For which answer was given, in which we had seen that to say that only by performing nitya and naimittika karma, by performing nitya and naimittika karma, you are not going to gain any result, but you are going to avoid the effect of papa is fallacious, wrong. Why? Because it has been seen that nitya and naimittika karma does give result. Nitya and naimittika karma does give result, and what type of result? Results in the form of swargadika loka prapti. And not performing them is not going to give you papa phala. Why? Because absence of anything cannot give any result. After having explained this, further it was said that to say that by performing prayashitta karma all papas will be washed off again is wrong. That is not possible. And furthermore, because you are not desirous of, the results are not going to come to you is fallacious. Any result will come to you whether you ask for it or not. Once karma has been performed, the result of that karma is going to come to you. So to say, for a mumukshu, sanchita karma or punya karma phala will not come is again wrong. And to say that all the prarabdha, all the karmas which are to be experienced will be experienced in one birth itself or by one person in many bodies itself is again wrong. That is not possible. After having explained this, the author came to answering how bandha is mithya. The question was raised, okay, why bandha is real? Because you need 5 causes for superimposition. None of these causes are present in bondage for bondage to be superimposition. None of these causes are available for bondage to become superimposition. Therefore, bondage is not superimposition, bondage is real. Bandha satyah. For which answer was given that bandha is mithya. Now, all the objections one by one are going to be answered. What were the 5 causes? The first cause was explained as You need to experience a real entity, and experience impression gained by the experience of real entity will be the cause of superimposition. The answer was given no. Impression alone, impression gained by the experience alone will be the cause for superimposition. But to say that that experience should come from a real entity, a real object alone is wrong. Mithya vastu anubhava can also in turn through step by step process. So mithya vastu anubhava will give rise to impression, mithya vastu jnana samskara, and that samskara can be the cause of superimposition. After having explained this whole thing, author further progressed in explaining how this is applicable to bandha, bondage. Okay, we accept. But by your logic, you need to have prior experience of bandha, which is mithya. At least mithya anubhav should be there. Where does it start? For which it was said that even if you say, this is Purapaksha's point, Ahankara is experience, Ahankara is superimposition. Why? Because we have prior experience of that Ahankara, an impression gained from that experience. Where did that experience come from? If you say that experience also is superimposition, then there needs to be prior superimposed experience. And this chain is not going to end. Somewhere you need to have primordial first experience of Ahankara. And where that Ahankara is coming from, for which answer was given, in that sense, that experience is Anadi. That Ahankara is Anadi. 6 things were said to be Anadi. Isha, Jiva, Brahma, Jiveshwara Bheda, Avidya, and Avidya Chaitanya Yoga, union between Avidya and Chaitanya. Some say that Avidya and Chaitanya Yoga, also known as Chidabhasa. All these are Anadi. Now, why are these Anadi? They are Anadi because Utpatti Shunyatvat. No definite point of origin can be allotted to them. No definite cause of birth can be given to them. You can never say for such and such reason, for this reason, this has come into being. Never can be said. And if that is said so, then they will have future birth also, and which contradicts with our all the other siddhanta, all other doctrines, all other established theorems, if you want to say established rules. How is it so? Let's just dwell upon this little bit and then we will move further. Why do we need to consider avidya etc. to be anadi? It is very simple. If we had seen this last time, but let's see it again. If avidya has beginning, then as it began in past, so will it begin in future. As it began in past, so will it begin in future. And if it has some beginning point, then it will have its end on its own accord. And this is a very important point. Understand, any object which has a cause for its birth will also have cause for its destruction. And in those causes, one of the cause will be swataha nasha. Each and every object which has been created in this world will perish on its own accord, on its own. Is it not? It is our experience that things perish on their own. What does that mean? That means if avidya is born, then it will end, and again it is going to start. Then why to put effort for destroying avidya? If even after destruction something is going to begin, something is going to start again, why destroy it? Why put forth effort? Just go through it. That is illogical, that is fallacious, that does not seem to be so. Therefore, in conclusion, avidya has to be anadi, and otherwise also Shruti has explained that avidya is anadi. So, avidya, etc., they are anadi. Therefore, that experience also is anadi. This is what adhyasa is. प्रथमाध्यास हेतु भूतल संस्कार न युज्यते. That experience which can give rise to the superimposition, that experience does not exist. To say this is wrong. Why? Even if you argue in this way, that you don't have any primary experience because of which the impression is created, by which by that impression superimposition can take place, such primary experience is not there. For which we answer, वेदांत सिद्धांते न कोपि अध्यासः अयमेव प्रथमाध्यासः इति वक्तुं शक्यते. To say there is no adhyasa, this itself is adhyasa. To say there is no superimposition, this itself is superimposition. And that primary experience is anadi. You can never find that. Why? Because it is swata siddha. It was always there. For that, no cause is available. Because anything and everything which is anadi is also causeless, without any cause. After having explained in this way that ajnana is anadi, and because it is anadi, the impression was always there for superimposition to take place, has been explained. Now, the next argument. You need the experience of the object which is similar. Sadrushya dosha. The defect of similarity. For snake to be superimposed on rope, there needs to be similarity between those two. Only then snake can be superimposed on rope. For which now the answer is being given. Yaduktam अध्यासभूत हेतु दोषास्त्रयः. Three were said to be the cause of adhyasa, superimposition. One was sadrushya, and then pramatru pramana dosha and prameya dosha. Also it was said that all these causes need to be there. In absence of one, superimposition can never be there. But this is in contrast with our other experiences of superimposition. Now answer starts. If you say that similarity alone is required, then tell me this. A person says, I am Brahmanaha, I am Kshatriyaha, I am Karnaha, I am Klibaha, I am Shishu, Yuva, I am a Brahmana, I am a Kshatriya, I cannot see, I am a blind person, I am a Moodha, I am a small child, I am a young person. Are these not adhyasa on your own self? Are these not superimposition on your own self? Where is the similarity? No similarity is available for these superimpositions. So, to say that similarity has to be there is wrong. किंच सादृश्यस्य अध्यास हेतुत्वाभ्युपगमे शंखे पीतिमाध्यास गुणे तिक्ताध्यासश्च न स्यात्. सादृश्याभावात् प्रत्युत श्वैत्यपीतीम्नः माधुर्यतिक्तत्वयोश्च विरुद्धयोः अपि अध्यासः अनुभूयते. तस्मात् अधिष्ठाने मिथ्यावस्तुनः सादृश्यरूपदोषः न अध्यास हेतुः. Therefore, in adhisthana, in the basis where superimposition is going to take place, the requirement that superimposed and superimposition in between them, that which is being superimposed and the adhisthana, the locus on which superimposition is taking place, there needs to be similarity is not required. Why? Shankha, a conch, a shell, it's white in color, but it appears to be yellow with person who has defect in his eyes. Now, where is the similarity? There is no similarity between the yellow color and the shell. Now, in certain diseases or during snake bite, where snake venom is neurotoxin, the taste buds act different. And for such a person, the taste of uh, jaggery, which is sweet, appears to be bitter, and bitter object appears sweet. Where is the similarity? No similarity at all. So by these experiences, to say you need to have similarity is wrong. सादृश्यमन्तरा आत्मनि अध्यासः संभवति तथा विना एव सादृश्यम् अहंकारादिबन्धाध्यासः अपि आत्मनि संभवत्येव. Therefore, based on these experiences, we know for sure, we know for certain that you don't need to have similarity as the cause. And because similarity is not the necessary cause, and it is one of the causes, because it is one of the causes, bondage, ahankara etc in form of bandha can be superimposed on atma even though there is no similarity between those two. So sadrushya dosha as the cause of adhyasa is not required. Further, प्रमातृदोषः अपि न अवश्यमध्यास हेतुः. Defect in pramata. Pramatru dosha also is not required. How do you say so? Pramatuhu lobha bhayadi doshaha na adhyasa hetavah. It was said because a person who was desirous, lobhi, for him the idea of superimposition of silver took place in that seashell. Because he was desirous of silver, that apparent silver appeared to be as silver. The one who had this bhaya in his mind, agitations in his mind, for him rope appeared to be snake. To say that is wrong. Why? Because the person who does not have such dosha, for him also, for such a person also, all these adhyasas are appear seen to be there. You don't need to be lobhi. You don't need to be desirous to have superimposition of silver on that shell. परपक्षरीत्या दोषरूप हेतु अभावात् न अध्यासः जायेत तस्मात् न प्रमातृदोषः अध्यास हेतुः. Therefore, even in absence of pramatru dosha, adhyasa appears to be there, adhyasa is seen to take place. Superimposition is seen to take place. Therefore, pramatru dosha is not the cause for adhyasa, superimposition. It is one of the causes but not necessary cause. प्रमाण दोषः अपि न अवश्यम अध्यास हेतु. Now further he progresses and says pramana dosha also is not the necessary cause for adhyasa. How do you say so? Pramana dosha api na adhyasa hetu तथा ही सर्वेषाम् एव नीरूपे आकाशे नैल्यम् इन्द्रनीलकटाहकारश्च भाति ततः सर्वेषाम् आकाशे समतया नैल्याद्यध्यासस्य जायमानत्वात् सर्वेषां नेत्रेन्द्रियप्रमाणे पित्तादिदोषसद्भावकल्पनावाच्या सा च नाञ्जसी. A very simple argument. What's the color of sky? Does sky or space has any color? No. Space does not have any color. What is the shape of space? There is no shape at all. Yet, when you are looking at horizon, that space appears to have bent and come to meet the ground. So, the curvature of space is seen. The blueness of blue color is seen in space. Now, this is not one person's experience, but everybody experiences in the same way. The blue color and the curvature of space. Therefore, to say that everybody's eyes are defective will be outrageous. Why? Because you are adamant that pramana dosha is necessary. So for the blueness of sky, blueness of space, the curvature of space, the cause is not pramana dosha but something else. Therefore, pramana dosha is not a necessary cause. In absence of pramana dosha also, the superimposition is seen. In conclusion, all these dosha, one of the point which was raised by the opponent was you need to have all these defects for superimposition to take place. Here author has given different examples and said that even in absence of certain defects, superimposition is experienced. So to have all the defects for superimposition take place is fallacious and wrong. Any cause can be there for superimposition. And by that, he also has answered how these causes are can be there in the superimposition of ahankara on Brahman. Then what really causes for superimposition to take place? There, one point was raised. In the end, for superimposition to take place, what you need to have the knowledge of adhishthana in general sense. You should not know the adhishthana in specific in detail. If you know adhishthana in detail exactly the way it is, superimposition cannot take place. Knowledge in general, knowledge in specific is not there in Brahman. Why? Because Brahman is akhanda and there is no these parts like specific part in detail. Visheshansha, Samanyansha, such ansha are not there in Brahman. Therefore, for on Brahman, no superimposition can take place. Here now answer is going to be given. Author says, Itham doshaha na adhyasa hetu. The defect is not the cause of superimposition. Any defect. This dosha is not the cause of superimposition. Ataha bandhadhyase na doshapeksha asti. So, for bondage to be superimposition, defects in pramatru, pramana, prameya are not necessary. They are not required. Then, what is the adhyasa? So, karanadhyasa nirupadam. Now, author explains, Swayam prakashepi brahmani ajnanopapatti. The question was, Brahman is Swayam Prakasha. And because it is Swayam Prakasha, you can never have ajnana of that Brahman. How do you say so? How can you say that you do not know a lit lamp? To say that I cannot see a lamp which has been lit is wrong, unless you are a person who cannot see. For a blind person it is fine. For a blind man it is fine. But the one who can see clearly, for him to say he is not able to see the light in front of him which is lit is fallacious. Therefore, you cannot say that you know Brahman in general sense and in specific. Why? Because it is Swayam Prakasha. You can never have the complete ignorance of Brahman or complete partial knowledge of Brahman. Partial knowledge of Brahman can never be there. For which answer is being given, यथा आत्मनः स्वरूप प्रकाशः अज्ञान विरोधी भवेत् तदा सुषुप्तौ स्वयं प्रकाशात्मनि न अज्ञान उपलभ्येत. A very beautiful point has been raised. Author says, who told you that Brahman is ajnana virodhi? Who says that Brahman is ajnana virodhi? Brahman is not ajnana virodhi. How can you say so? Arey Baba, it is Brahman which illumines that ignorance which you have. How did you come to know about your ignorance? We are aware of our ignorance because of Brahman. And if they were virodhi, Brahman could never have illumined that ignorance. It logically looks right, but do we have any experience to which we can refer to? Yes, deep sleep. When you go to sleep, are you experiencing? Yes, I do experience, but I am not there as an experiencer. Okay, fine. After you have waken up, after you wake up, what do you say? I slept very well, I did not know anything at all. That was the best sleep which I have had, was a very good sleep. I did not remember anything. I did not see a single dream. Good, good for you. But tell me, were you there? If you were not there, then how did you come to know about that experience? Your expression after you have woken up that I slept well establishes that that experience which you are expressing is the smriti, the remembrance of prior experience. It is a smriti, memory. Here, even the author here right now has not used that word. In Vedanta, we have a very special word for this, which is called as pratyabhijna, and which is an important part and parcel of this whole doctrine. Pratyabhijna is very much important. What is pratyabhijna? It is very simple and very beautiful idea. प्रागस्वाप्समिति प्रबोध समये यह प्रत्यभिज्ञायते. In Dakshinamurti Stotra, Acharya has written, Bhashyakara has written, what is it? Tatta idanta ekabhavavagahini vritti. Tatta, tat, that, ta, ness, thatness, idanta, thisness, ekabhavavagahini are not separate things but one and one alone. Such a vritti is called pratyabhijna. The one who slept, that alone I am. The one who slept, that alone I am, is pratyabhijna. Prag aswapsam. I slept. So before sleep, the one who I was, that alone I am after having woken up. That oneness, and when that oneness is possible, only when in absence of expression I am, where that expression was not there during the part of deep sleep, you were there. Otherwise, when there is khanda, block in between, you could never have said that I was the one who slept. The continuity of experience, if it is absent, to say that the one who slept alone I am would not have been possible. So even though you do not say so in deep sleep, you are there. Okay, I accept that I was there in deep sleep, but yet it has not answered my question. Now let's come to the main topic, main argument. Tell me, you experienced, what did you experience? In deep sleep, what did you experience? I experienced happiness. Now that happiness belongs to whom? Atma or Avidya? It belongs to Atma. That means you did experience Atma. But did you know Atma? No. So that concludes you have experienced Atma in general sense. At the same time, you have not known Atma, what it is. इत्थं सुषुप्तौ स्वयं प्रकाशस्वरूपे आत्मनि भासमाने एव तस्मिन् स्वरूपसुखम् अज्ञानञ्च प्रतीयेते. In deep sleep, where in deep sleep, what is there? Swayam Prakasha Atma alone is there, who is illumining all our experiences. Chidabhasa is not available for illumining all our thoughts. Why? Because Antahkarana itself has gone into layer. To say that it is there, okay, because of that Ajnana Vritti, etc., it can be explained, but the who is the illuminator, that is Sakshi Bhasya. What is this Sakshi Bhasya, etc.? The topic is going to come later. So in Sushupti, where Atma alone is there, what was experienced? Sukhaswarupa Atma and Ajnana. यदि आत्मनः स्वरूप प्रकाशे एव स्वरूप प्रकाशः एव साक्षात् अज्ञान विरोधी स्यात् तर्हि अज्ञानम् एव सुषुप्तौ नानुभूयेत. If that Swarupa Atma was the opposite or contrary to that of ignorance, was opposed to that of ignorance, then in deep sleep ignorance could never have been experienced. And then moksha would have been for everyone. Go to sleep, in deep sleep you have experienced Atma, there is no ignorance. And even otherwise, even if you may argue that that experience does not work, that experience cannot be taken for granted. Okay, but what is your expression? I did not know anything. That means ignorance was there, did not know. So you experienced your ignorance. If that ignorance had not been there, you never would have said, I did not know anything. I knew everything. Would have been the expression. प्रत्युत आत्मनः स्वरूप प्रकाशः सर्वाधिष्ठानत्वात् अज्ञानस्यापि सत्तास्फूर्ति प्रदत्वेन साधक एव भवति. In short, in conclusion, in reality, Atma is not opposed to that of ignorance, but Atma is the one who gives Satta, the existence, and Spurti, the illumination to that ignorance. What do we say? Ignorance is, and I am aware of my ignorance. Even though ignorance is not really there, it appears to be there because of Atma, and it is known because of Atma. Therefore, Atma, Brahman, and ignorance are not opposed to each other. Then, who are opposed to each other? The Ajnana Vritti, Ajnana meaning Ajnana Vritti, is opposed to that of Jnana Vritti endowed with Chaitanya. And again, this is a very important Siddhanta in Vedanta. Brahman is never going to remove your ignorance. But that Brahma Jnana Vritti is going to remove your Ajnana Vritti. Ajnana is in form of thoughts, and those thoughts will be removed by Jnana Vritti alone, that Brahmakara Vritti alone. So those Vrittis are opposed to each other, not Brahman is opposed to Ajnana. So Sarvatra Vyapya Vartamanam Akhanda Chaitanyam Samanyam, that Brahman which is present everywhere, that is Samanya. And Antahkarana Vrittyaruಢa Chaitanyam Visheshatmakam iti Vivekaha. That Chaitanya, that Vritti which is endowed with Chaitanya, or Chaitanya which has come in contact with Antahkarana Vritti is Vishesha. Therefore, that Vishesha Chaitanya Anubhava is required for removing that ignorance. What do you mean? Let me just give simply the simple explanation. I had explained one example that you have a string or you have a cloth on which many mirrors have been stuck. You put those in outside in the sun. Now the sun rays are being reflected from those mirror on the wall. That wall is being illumined by the sunlight at the same time the reflected light. Seeing that light in general is which is illumining not just the wall but also that reflected beams, reflected rays is Brahman known in general sense. And those beads, those reflected rays are seeing them as light is like knowing Brahman in specific sense. That is the difference. So, in sense, Chaitanyam Vicharita Vedantam प्रमाण जनित साक्षात्कारात्मका खंड ब्रह्माकारांतःकरण वृत्त्यारूढ़ सन विशेषतया अज्ञान नाश हेतुत्वाच्च विरोधी भवति. So when does Brahma becomes virodhi of ajnana? Only when that Brahman illumines or the akhandakara vritti, brahmakara vritti, that brahmakara jnana antahkarana vritti gets endowed with that Chaitanya and that vritti together become the opposite of ajnana, virodhi of ajnana. Therefore, Brahman is known in general sense and in specific sense. It is experienced in that way. How is it experienced? Simple. I am. This experience is common for all. I am. But who am I is not known. Knowing I am is knowing Brahman in general sense. What lacks is I am Satchidananda Brahma. That's what is lacking. That is Vishesha Jnana. So, Samanya Jnana and Vishesha Jnana of Brahman is possible in terms of ignorance and ignorant person. Only with respect to ignorant person we can say there is Samanya Jnana and Vishesha Jnana of Brahman. In reality, there is neither Samanya Jnana nor Vishesha Jnana of Brahman. How? Because Samanya and Vishesha is with reference to Vritti and its absence. Vritti is Mithya. Because from the standpoint of ignorant person alone, this explanation holds good. That there is general knowledge of Brahman and specific knowledge of Brahman. Why? Because he is ignorant, that's it. Therefore, Atma samanyatah jnatah visheshatah ajnatasya. Atma is known in general and is not known in specific sense. Therefore, यदि आध्यासिकस्य च बन्धस्य ज्ञानात् निवृत्तिः अपि युज्यते अतएव ग्रन्थस्य प्रयोजनम् अपि सम्भवत्येव. ब्रह्मात्मना च अविदिते आत्मनि बन्धाध्यासः सम्भवत्येव. For all these reasons, because Brahman is not known in specific what it exactly is, superimposition on Brahman is possible. To conclude, let's go through all the points just quickly so that we will finish this chapter off. In this chapter, the whole thing started with the objections. This second Taranga, this second chapter, objections were raised about Adhikari, Vishaya, Sambandha, Prayojana and Sambandha. For Adhikari, Sambandha it is objection is not required. Adhikari, no Adhikari is there. Yes, Adhikari is there. And all we had seen many small points. Why? Why there is no Adhikari? Because someone Dukkha Nivrutti Akshepa, nobody desires for Dukkha Nivrutti etc. was given, and for which answer was given, people will desire eventually. Why? Because they will know other than removing ignorance, no permanent removal of sorrow is possible. So by removing ignorance alone, permanent removal of sorrows can take place. Then Vishaya. Brahman cannot be Vishaya. Jiva Brahmanoho Aikya Rupa Vishaya Akshepaha. Oneness between Jiva and Brahman is not possible, which was answered. How? Then many things came. Who is Sakshi? Who is Jiva? Sakshi is Visheshana or Adhyasa. Everything came. Jiva has Antahkarana Vritti as Visheshana, and for Sakshi it is Adhyasta. Then questions came about Prayojana, for which bondage is real, and by karma moksha can take place. How by karma moksha cannot take place was answered, and for Prayojana, what were the objections? Adhyasa Samagri. Causes for superimposition are Satyavastu Anubhavajanya Samskara, impression gained by experiencing real object, defect in pramata, knower, defect in means of knowledge, and defect in the object which is going to be experienced, and knowing adhisthana in general and not knowing it in specific. All these have to be there. For which answer was given, it is not necessary for all these causes to be there. In absence of these causes, or even if one of the thing is there, superimposition is seen. And all these causes are not necessary causes as it was proposed by the opponent. For which different examples was given and explained that bondage is superimposition. Because what was opponent's point? All the 5 things have to be there. When the answer was given, you need to have only certain cause, not all the causes. Obviously, bondage becomes superimposition on Brahman. Why bondage can be superimposition on Brahman? Because Brahman is known in general sense and not known exactly what it is. In conclusion, author says, पूर्वोक्त प्रकारेण ग्रंथस्य अधिकारी विषय प्रयोजनानां श्रुतियुक्त्यनुभवैः प्रसादितत्वात् एषां संबंधोऽपि भवति. Because all the objections now have been answered, and granthasya, for this of this grantha, adhikari vishaya prayojananam, adhikari of this grantha, prayojana of this grantha, vishaya of this grantha has been explained according to Shruti, Yukti and Anubhava. Veda, Upanishad quotations, logic and our experiences. The sambandha that this text is going to be revealer and Brahman is going to be revealed, Brahman is going to be known, is Sambandha. That Sambandha also is possible. Tasmat अस्य ग्रन्थस्य आरम्भः शक्यते एव कर्तुम्. You can begin with the writing composition of this text. With this, we have finished with the second chapter of this text. Now with third chapter, Guru Shishya Swarupa Nirupanam will start. Who is a Guru, who is a Shishya, what are the qualities of a Guru, what are the qualities of a Shishya, but that we will see the next time.
Om Asato ma Sadgamaya Tamaso ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritangamaya Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om